Hello and welcome back to Rams Talk podcast. And we're here today for another midweek episode. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot going on at Derby at the minute. We've got transfers to talk about, we've got incomings, we've got departures, and as well, we've got a couple of rumours, as well as a quick game of Tenable. Thank you, Luke Pingu. I just steal your ideas nowadays. So joining me today for all this good stuff is firstly Nick Drewett. How are you, Nick?
I'm good, thank you, Jake. Yourself?
I'm all right, thank you. I'm all right. I'm still ill. I don't think I'll ever recover. But apart from that, I'm pretty good, thank you. We've also got Jack Doughty. How are you, mate?
The same as you, Jake. I was on death's door a few days ago, but nothing like a bit of Matt Clarke madness to perk you back up and get you ready for a tough game on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, let's talk Matt Clarke first off, Nick, because he seems like a really good signing. I mean, we remember him at Derby. We remember how good he was at Derby, obviously player of the season in the 2019-2020 season. And he looked a player that was destined to play top half championship, low-end Premier League. As it turns out, he's ended up back at Derby 5 years later. What were your thoughts when it got announced?
I think it's a great sign. He's a known quantity, isn't he? We know what we're getting. I think I read something stupid that we're the club that he's played the second most games for after Pompey, I think. Obviously, it was back-to-back loans that he was with us. And, he's decent on the ball, maybe not as good as Cash, but he's a great defender and he seems to like and enjoy defending, which is something that we're going to need if, I suppose, we go on to later, looking at replacing Cash directly. So yeah, I think it's a cracking bit of business. It seems like it's going to work all ways around for the club and for Clarke with how he's signed. Some people I've seen some people questioning it, and is the 250 grand is that a bit much for 6 months? But I think it's at this stage of the season, he knows the club is another important thing. Whilst there's not a lot of personnel that were here when he was last here, but he knows the club. The fans know him. The fans are immediately going to get behind him. There's going to be no question marks over this transfer, if you like. Whereas I think that can't be said of previous transfers under this regime. So yeah, I'm all on board the Matt Clarke train. I think it's a good bit of positivity which we need around the club at this time.
Yeah, I hope him and Fozzie got on last time, because it'd be awkward if they were walking back into the same changing room once again 5 years later. But it's an interesting point you made about the 250 grand. That's obviously, I don't think that's a lot. I really don't think that's a lot. I mean, the reason why it's 250 grand is because he only had 6 months left on his deal, which makes sense. That's ironically less than we paid for Corey Blackett-Taylor, who had 6 months left on his. Let's have a think about that. But Jack, I mean, you look at that deal. Yes, it's to the end of the season, which, I think raised a few eyebrows, mine included. But I think it makes sense. And I really wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of clause in there which means that if Derby stay up, he gets an automatic extra year or extra 2 years or something like that. It seems like it's purely set up like that just to protect Matt Clarke's career if we go down.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the cards are very much in Matt Clarke's hands, really, that if we do, struggle to beat the drop, he's not going to be stuck in League One, because I think he knows that he isn't a League One player, and he knows. We've seen with Matt Clarke, I think he's won Player of the Season with us. I think he won it at West Brom. And from what the bits I heard from the Middlesbrough roundup of him, that he was arguably one of the best players in the half a season he did manage to play under Michael Carrick. So, yeah, it just seems to me that the player's gone, look, I'll do it, but I'm not sticking around if we get relegated, which is completely fair for him in his career. But I think in terms of the replacement of Eiran Cashin, I think left-footed centre-backs are such a premium, and to get one that is a known quantity in the Championship is so rare. So, and again, the fee's nominal. Like, that fee will be well worth it if we stay up, and that is the big if we stay up.
And we never know what loan fees are being paid for players anyway, do we? Loan fees are never reported, and you'd be stupid to think that you're getting somebody on loan and not paying anything for them. So,
yeah.
Well, Hull are paying well over $1 million, aren't they, for Louis Barry?
Yeah, absolutely.
You think about that. You don't even get him at the end. You don't even have the chance to get him at the end. It's it's crazy, isn't it? We need to go back to the time of Lampard and we get Mount and Tomori on free loans and just coast through and get to the end of the season like that. But
and not play a striker.
we'll move on one day. I'm sure we will. But Nick, I mean, obviously Matt Clarke coming in, really positive signing. We're really excited to see him play for Derby again. Really excited to see him do those Cruyff turns at the edge of his own box again. I've definitely missed that. Genuinely missed those. Are funny. Since Keogh and Clarke, we've not had the same chaos at the back. But we look at the man that's going out, Eiran Cashin, and it's so disappointing, isn't it? And don't get me wrong, if the money is true, if the deal of 10 million with potential 5 extra million in add-ons, so 15 million for an academy player that's played for us for years. I mean, it's devastating that he's going, but what a deal for Derby.
100%. And fair play to the lad. He could have gone. He could have gone last year. He could have gone the year before. But he's signed a deal. He's committed to us. He's committed to, if he goes, as getting this kind of money. And I can have no ill will towards Cash. Wish him nothing but the best. And I really hope that he succeeds up there. And Hart will always have a place for Eiran Cashin, but he's still prone to the odd little gaff here and there. I don't think he's irreplaceable. And we as Derby County these days, I think, unfortunately, we've got to accept that we're now a selling club. We're going to find these gems. We're going to bring them through, be that academy or some gems from abroad. We're going to bring players through and we're going to have to sell them for profit in 2-3 years until we get back to that level that we were when we were
in the 70s.
When we were the old. Yeah, I mean, let's not give the people that think signing Dave Mackay and Colin Todd is the answer any more fuel. But we've got to accept that, and I wish Cash nothing but the best. And I think if that is as reported, it's a cracking deal for the club.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I mean, Jack, that would make him Derby's obviously record sale for an academy player once the add-ons kick in. I mean, when you look at Eiran Cashin, where he started out, he struggled to break into the team when Philip Cocu was manager. He sort of made his way into the team towards the end of that Rooney season, where we ended up going down, and made a really good impression. And in League One, he looked too good for the league, way too good for the league. And he could have gone, and he almost did. And he, in fairness, he tried to go, and I don't blame him. We accepted 4 million from Brighton last January. The window closes, and Cashin signs a new 4-year deal with Derby. Now, when you look at that 4-year deal, that has just ended up making us potentially another £11 million. Now, how much credit does Eiran Cashin deserve for signing that deal, knowing that he was probably going to go at some point in the near future anyway? He could have gone for free. But he didn't. He signed an extra deal, and he's banked Derby 11 million extra pounds. I mean, how good is that?
I think as well, credit to Cash, but also credit to the board and the people above board who have, at the moment, they're getting a lot of criticism, some of it unfair, some of it justified. But I think when you look at the previous regimes and the previous, times that we've had, how many times have we lost our young players for peanuts? It happens time and time again. And to hopefully, again, there's the talk of the academy being worth X amount of money a year. Well, you've just made 2 years worth, maybe 3 years worth of Category 1 academy off one player. And that is the model. You look at, this Brentford model that everybody seems to harp on about. They did it. They've done it with multiple players, Ollie Watkins, Ivan Toney. The amount of players that they have brought through and they seemingly replace with either another young player or an experienced head, that is what Derby need to look at. And there's not just Brentford, there's multiple established Premier League teams now who are doing this. I mean, Bournemouth are having the season of their life and they've just lost their best striker, and it's happened time and time again for them. And if that's what it takes for us to climb up the leagues, then so be it. And I love Eiran Cashin as much as the next man, but 10 to 15 million pounds is the difference, I think, between survival and potentially going down. I think if we can reinvest that money in we've got 5 days left, we've got to work quickly, but if we work shrewdly, we'll be fine. And I think this is going to facilitate a lot of change in the squad, which is needed massively.
Well, think about it. Salverson was what, 800,000? You know,
Yep.
Matt Clarke 250,000. So for what could be 1/15 of Eiran Cashin's transfer fee, we've brought in a new top centre back and a new top striker. You know, and that's what you can do with that sort of money, and that's why you've got to, like you say, you've got to invest smartly, haven't you? Brentford have done it really well. I mean, Brentford are kind of strange because they don't have an academy, do they? They've pretty
got
much
that B
cancelled
cell,
their
haven't they? Yeah.
exactly, but they sign lots of young players that are in other academies, and they do it that way. Whereas Derby have done so well at developing players, and that leads me to a game that I've got. So Luke Pingu, eat your heart out, mate, because this is far better than anything you've pulled up with your 10 billion subscribers. So, boys, I want you two to work together, and you can work in the comments as well. People watching live, please play along at home. This will be quite an interesting one, I think. So, my tenable question for you. There are 16 answers to this question. The question is, can you name Derby's 16 highest transfer fees received for academy players? And give me a second so I can put it, so I can tick them off, because I didn't think to do that before. Right, here we go. Go for it. And Cashin is included in this, by the way. So you can say him.
So Will Hughes.
Yep,
Yep.
we've got Will Hughes.
I'll go with Jeff Hendrick.
Jeff Hendrick. So Will Hughes, 5.5 million. Jeff Hendrick, 10.5 million.
He was the
Current
old record,
first
wasn't
place.
he? Yeah,
he was the old record, yeah.
Are we counting Jaden Bogle in there?
We are. Jaden Bogle, £4 million.
Yeah, not
This
a
is
true
a
academy
rogue-
player, though, was he? Really, but anyway.
But
Rogue
Jaden
shout.
Bogle, by the way, he went as part of a joint deal. I'd probably keep
With
that in
Max
mind.
Lowe.
Yep, who was also £4 million. Go on, Jack.
Would Tom Huddleston make the list?
Tom Huddleston, £4.5 million to Tottenham Hotspur.
This shirt has just made me think of when Tom Huddleston was at Derby the first time.
Lee Buchanan.
Nope,
Well, I
Lee
think he
Buchanan
was
was
free,
free.
wasn't he?
Tore up his contract. Boo!
See, I don't know how low the bar is. Like,
You've got
this is
the
the
top
awkward thing.
6 so
You've got
far.
the top 6. Just trying to think of academy graduates that are.
I'll give you a clue. 16th place.
Jason Knight and Max Bird.
Jason Knight, £2 million. Max Bird, £2 million. The bottom one is 680,000.
I don't
So
think
that's
this will
16th.
count.
Go
Luke
on.
Plange.
Luke
Does he
Plange,
count
1
as the
million.
academy? No,
Yep, he
did.
does. He came through our development
Which-
squad, apparently, according to Transfermarkt.
Would Liam Delap also fit that criteria?
Liam Delap, £1 million.
Did we sell Morgan Whittaker?
We did.
Morgan Whittaker, 700 grand.
God, that's tragic.
Yeah, I know.
That's really bad.
To be fair, though, he was garbage when he played for us. he was so
there's
he
one
looked
in
like
the-
he was running in treacle.
Would the most recent one be Amari Kellyman?
Amari
did
Kellyman,
he-
680 grand.
Was he the
Cade
bottom one? Was he?
Gordon.
Cade Gordon,
Gordon.
3 million to
Bloody hell,
Liverpool.
we did all right there. We did all right there.
Gordon.
Someone, Chris in the comments has got it, by the way, if you haven't got one of them already.
See,
Oh, is
I
it
have
another
to cheat.
pedigree shirt wearing
It could be
defender?
another. It
Chris
could
Riggett.
be Chris Riggett, correct. And now there are 2 left, but this is funny because both of them are the same player that we sold on 2 different occasions.
Sold them twice.
Sold him twice.
The only one I don't think he came for our academy, but I remember Seth Johnson coming and going twice, but he wasn't our academy, was he? So it's
No.
not Seth Johnson.
Signed him from Crewe.
Yeah, I'm trying to. This is a tough one. This I came back and went.
Era. Go on, give us an era.
So he first played for us in, I'd probably say the mid 2000s, and he returned in the early to mid 2010s.
God. Position.
Goalkeeper.
Oh, it'd be Lee Grant, won't it?
It is Lee Grant,
Lee Grant.
who went
Bloody
for
hell.
$1 million. I can't remember who to. I've already forgot. But then he went for 1.2 million to Stoke City later on down the line.
More the second time.
Yeah, I know. I suppose that's inflation. I think he went the
Well,
first time in
yeah, I
like
suppose.
2007 or something like
that
that.
that 1 million was probably about 5 nowadays.
Probably. I mean, Huddleston 4.5 million in like 2002.
Yeah, I
2003.
remember
I mean,
a bit of Jack trivia. My first ever game was Derby versus RCD Mallorca in 2004, and a 16-year-old Samuel Eto'o played for Mallorca. It's the first ever Derby game my dad took me to. I think I was 5, maybe. Yeah,
See,
5. I must have been 5.
that just depresses me and makes me feel incredibly old because my first game was, ironically, Sheffield United, 1993. We lost 3-2.
That's not
well,
a
that's not a good
Paul
omen.
Simpson
Yeah.
scored. Paul Simpson scored. So there's my age for you, boys.
Oh God! Right, well done, lads. You managed to get all 16, so you win the cash prize, which is a
picture of Eiran
each.
Cashin.
A picture of Eiran Cashin. There you go. Just stare at the
cash
thumbnail,
prize.
and you both get it. You
In a
both get
Brighton
it.
shirt.
In a podcast, no, not in a Brighton shirt, not in a Brighton shirt. Celebrating promotion or something nice like that. So I guess to move on to Derby's transfers, we've talked about Matt Clarke coming in. We've talked about Eiran Cashin going out. There's another player Derby are really, really heavily linked with, and that's Dan Barlaser. Might have spoke to someone from Middlesbrough about this already, but he plays a number 10 under Paul Warne. Plays more of a number 6 when he's played for Middlesbrough.
A midfielder
really
that plays
good.
out of position. He'll be
Well,
an ideal Paul Warne candidate then.
Well, he's a really good passer of the ball. I mean, Nick Kenzo's needed a friend in centre mid to pass the ball to for quite some time. How beneficial would it be to get someone like Barlaser through the door again for a fee under £1 million?
I think it's another sort of championship-ready player, isn't it? I don't think anyone is of any illusions that he's a, future worldie, gonna come in and we're gonna sell him in 2 years for 5 or 6 million. But he could be a man for now. Listening to people from Borough and people that played against him, he doesn't seem to do a lot of standout, but he keeps it ticking over. So it could be a shrewd bit of business. The thing that concerns me is, like you say, he played as a 10 for Warne. He's playing as a 6 for Borough. What will he come and do for us now?
Number 8, but naturally, because it's between the two.
Right wing back.
Yeah. No. We can't drop Caden Jackson. Don't be silly. We've got to find a place for him. So, yeah, it could be a shrewd bit of business for now. I don't think it's going to get anyone jumping around. But as you say, we need a mate for Kenzo. We need to find some way of getting Kenzo playing as that 10. Because that's where he's looked effective. There's no mistake earlier in the season, wasn't it, that he scored 2 and 3 games or 3 and 4 games?
Yeah,
playing as a 10. He's no good in front of the back 4.
Well, that's it. And
if this guy would allow him to do that, cool.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. Again, I think it gives us options, doesn't it, Jack? If he can play as a 10, that's great. If he can create, that's great. But if he can sit back, that's good too.
Yeah, the midfield's been a bit of a struggle all season, hasn't it? In terms of injuries and these so-called medical facilitated subs, it has been difficult to get, the preferred 3 on the pitch. And I think earlier on in the season, we've seen Osborne, Ozo, and Kenzo look really good. And then obviously the injury happened to David Ozo, which kind of forced a hand in a little bit. And Ebu Adams has been, well, I think we can all agree since last January he's been the best player of the Derby shirt in that time.
You didn't put him in your best 3 then?
Yeah, but he didn't start the season, did he? He came in a bit later, and it started off with Osborne, and then Ebu came in, and he's been the man, hasn't he? And I think getting somebody around Ebu, because Ebu's not really an out-and-out holding midfielder. I think he looks a lot more effective as an 8, where he's getting up and down, he's affecting the game a bit more. Granted, his final ball can be a little bit questionable at times, but you know what you're going to get with Ebu. He's going to make the box. He's going to cause a bit of chaos. And I think if you can get that man behind him to sort of quarterback the game, get the ball off Clarke and hopefully Nat Phillips, when he's back, and spray the ball around like a prime, Tom Huddleston, like he did it for so many years. It'd be ideal. And like we said, Kenzo looks so much more effective higher up the pitch. He is a very good passer of the ball. I just think he's a bit more delicate. He's a bit more cute. His passing's just that little bit more precise. And when he's sliding through gaps for somebody to run in behind, we've seen it at the was it the Watford game where we hit the bar with Mendes Lang at the back post, and that was all because we got Kenzo 18 yards out. He slipped Wilson, and the rest happens. And as we say, we need Kenzo higher. He's so wasted as a 6, and
that's it. He can't split people through from the edge of his own area.
No, exactly. It takes a worldy pass to do anything from there, to directly be involved. And is it Barlaser? I can't say his name.
Barlaser, I've been told. I couldn't say it either.
If he is the man to unlock Kenzo Hardmine, then so be it. Bring him in. And even if he's not going to continue in the side next season, he's a very worthy rotation player, which is better than like the midfield we have as rotation now. So it's a no-brainer for me.
I'm sensing the old Football Manager deep lying playmaker and the advanced playmaker sat in front of him. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Only real ones will understand that one.
With Evo Adams as the Mazzala. Yeah,
oh God, yeah. Yeah, get the trequartista of Salverson up front or something along those lines. Yeah, I agree. And we got a comment from Robin who's put, him and Ibu holding with Kenzo in front. You've got someone deep that can spray passes. Barlaser can spray passes. If you want a 50-yard diagonal, he'll give you a 50-yard diagonal. So that's a real benefit for us. I think we lack players that can do that. That's why Cashin had to do it so much, playing in the position that he was in. But other links we've had a Swedish winger, haven't we? An unnamed secret Swedish winger. Ooh, who could it be? And we've also had, a couple of other centre backs. We had that Bogard from Villa linked. I mean, Nick, I'm not going to ask you for names because it's always hard, isn't it, to just pluck names out of thin air. If you've got any, say them. Don't get me wrong. But what positions do Derby really need to strengthen now?
I have thought for a long time that we need a left back /
agreed.
Left wing back. I've softened my stance on Callum Elder since the start of the season. At the start of the season, I thought he was totally useless.
I think
not worth a place. Not worth a place in this. He has done okay this season, but Fozzie is the backup. He can't play wing back. Physically, can't play wing back. I don't think anymore. He's a left-sided centre back, and he's done a really good job left back in a 4. But if we're going to go back to this back 3, back 5, call it what you will, you can't have just Elder as your option there. Obviously, we try to block it for a little bit. It's now broken down, gassed out, blown up, whatever verbiage you want to use these days. So yeah, left back / left wing back. I'd love to see. We talked about Seth Johnson. I'd love to see a nasty player in the centre of midfield in the mould of a Seth Johnson, John Eustace type of player. I couldn't pick you a name out of the air at the minute, but I'd love to see, somebody that doesn't even have to be that good at football, but I think we're a bit too nice.
Like Adams, mate.
Look, Ibu flies around, puts himself about, but we've just said he's better as box.
Assassin.
Better as box to box, isn't he? I want to see someone that would just sit and crunch players in front of the back 4 and let the other players go and do it, go and do their thing. And then a winger would be nice. With Tom Lawrence, hasn't there? Which I cannot see for the life of me, because his wage demands will be too much. But I think they're the 3 for me: left back, nasty midfielder, winger.
Good stuff. I think your Wi-Fi gassed out a few times during that, mate. I was starting to worry for it. I mean, Jack, before I ask you yours, I'll give you mine if we can discuss all 3 of them. If I was going to pick 3, I think we need a centre back. I think we need a centre back. Left back's a good shout. I agree. I mean, I'll say I'll count Barlasser as if he already plays for us, which might be the worst jinx on earth. But if we do get him already through the door, I think we're probably okay in centre mid with Ozo and Ibu and Kenzo and Barlasser and whoever. I think we need a winger.
Another Clifton Beld coming here, mate.
Oh no, I know. I think we need a winger. We need a winger desperately.
Desperately
I
now
feel,
as well.
Yeah, I feel for Mendes Lang. I think he just can't play on the left. I feel for Blackett Taylor because he clearly has broken legs that never work. And, Jackson just isn't at the level. So it's a difficult one. I think we definitely need at least one winger. So I was going to pick three. I'll tell you what, why not? An attacking mid as well. An attacking midfielder,
that's top of my
a
shopping
winger,
list, to be honest.
Back. Go on, Jack. What are you thinking?
The top of the list, if you aren't going to play Kenzo as the 10, you need a number 10 because Marcus Harness is not effective in the centre of the pitch. That is really where Corey Blackett-Taylor getting injured is upset Marcus Harness, which is bizarre to say because he's played all season. But now you have the opportunity to play a person who's very good at crossing the ball, magically play him out wide when you've got a 6'2" Norwegian who seems to head everything. So get Marcus Harness onto the right, even the left. It doesn't matter to me. Put him out wide. Let him cross the ball to Salverson. Let Salverson jump like a salmon and head everything. And we'll be all right. I think the top end of the pitch with maybe one more attack-minded player will be okay. I think the issue now lies defensively. I think you probably need a centre-back who could play right-back because with the injury to Kane Wilson, and obviously we don't know about the status of Joe Ward, it leaves Ryan Nyambi, and he's just come back from an injury. I think everybody loves Jake Rooney, but is he gonna be championship standard to keep us up? I fear not. And then again, left back, as we've already addressed, Callum Elder has real good moments, and then also has moments where he may as well go and play Aussie rules. Notably, Watford, he was really poor against Watford. And I just think if you can get somebody like, roll back the years, 10 years ago, Craig Forsyth in at left back, you will have a serious threat because we all remember Fozzie's marauding runs where he never looked in control and then all of a sudden he'd cross it and Chris Martin would score. And I just wish we had those days again. But yeah, I think for me, if you're not going to play Kenzo, it's a 10. If not, get a winger, a centre-back / right-back cover, and then a left-back is probably...
Here's a little question for you both then. Do you reckon Yates could play as the 10?
Possibly.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Good.
He's got enough delicacy, hasn't he? He's got enough.
Yeah, I think he's wasted as a centre forward.
He actually spent a lot of his career
with somebody with him.
Yeah, well, he spent a lot of his career on the wing as well. Actually, funnily enough, he spent a lot of time playing out on the right, on the left. I mean, we saw that, didn't we? That ball into the box for Salverson's goal was unbelievable. He put it straight on his head. So yeah, I think Yates
probably not quite enough pace.
Yeah, but he's
for a winger.
No,
he's very tricky though, isn't he? He's very
exactly my point.
Turny.
Mario Mandzukic used to play on the wing. I'll just leave that as my
the Ramdeuter.
Yeah,
wide target forward.
Boot it up to him. Yeah, got a couple in the comments as well. I mean, Rob Pipes has suggested Sorba Thomas. I mean, he'd be a good signing, wouldn't he? I don't know how realistic that'd be. Kev Lees thinks that Derby need a large defender, a controlling midfielder, attacking midfielder, and a number 10. I don't know what the difference between an attacking midfielder and number 10 is. I cannot lie, but Kev, I like it. Hopefully we can have both. Mark Johnson says a left back, attacking mid, and a winger. Harness is clearly a winger, never a 10 as well. So yeah, I think we're pretty much all on the same wavelength, aren't we? There's a couple of spots in this Derby team that really need probably a little bit of quality and a little bit of depth. Before we go on to Sheff United, I just want to ask the question. I know we've gone past it already. I should have asked it. When it comes to Derby's academy sales, obviously, there's a lot of money. I just want a really quick answer, a yes or no answer. Is Eiran Cashin Derby's greatest ever sale from their academy? Go on, Nick.
Yes.
Jack?
For the price, yes. For a definite. But time will tell whether it be Derby's greatest export.
Oh, I wasn't saying that. I wasn't saying that.
Yeah. No, I like in terms of price,
double figures.
100%. 100% in terms of price, but I think in terms of export, again, there's a couple more who's gone on to have real good careers that if he can match, then fair play.
Yeah, well, let's hope he can. Let's hope he can. That's all wishing well. Watch it get cancelled
hope
after
there's
this, and we've
Let's
talked
hope
about
there's some
him leaving
clauses in
for.
there.
Cool. So, looking ahead to the weekend, Derby face Sheff United at home, a team where we've actually had a lot of luck in recent times. That game where Tom Lawrence scored a brace in the Rooney season. What an unbelievable game that was. So, joining us to give it, I said joining us, he's not here, but he sent us a lovely video, Hal from the Sheff United Way, all about Sheffield United and how they've performed this season. So, let me hand it over to Hal and let's see what we're up against at the weekend.
From the Sheff United Way, offering you the Blades perspective ahead of this game. United have performed pretty well this season. Actually, really think we properly kicked on after that first match against you guys. We've massively missed Harry Souttar, the defensive stalwart at the back. We seem to be leaking a lot more goals since he's left, and it's going to be hard to replace. But transfer window still open, and at time of recording this, we're rumoured to be interested in still more midfielders, more defenders, and we'll see what eventually happens and who we get over the line. But we performed well. I'd have bitten your hand off, or snapped your hand off, biting or snapping, happy with both, at the start of the season for where Sheffield United currently are in the league and how we've looked. We've played okay for large parts of the season. We haven't really blown any teams away, but we've ground out results. A lot of hard-fought victories, particularly away from home. And whilst we aren't creating that many chances, we've been scoring enough, but we weren't conceding, certainly at the start of the season. Okay, maybe that side of things has become a little bit more difficult, and we've had to figure out ways of getting past particularly hard to break down teams or teams that want to keep a lot of the ball. And we'll see how Derby County approach this game. I don't really know. I'm certainly not a Rams expert. The last fixture, of course, with you guys, what did I make of that? We battered you. We absolutely battered you. I think we had like nearly 20 shots on goal. I don't remember ever thinking that Derby were going to score or lay a glove on us. And I think it was Gus Harmer who scored in that one. He's currently out with a 2-game suspension. And a good match as far as I recall it. But to be honest, if you ask me what I had for lunch this morning, I've already forgotten. So I'm not great with that stuff. Which players are likely to cause the most damage for this Derby team? You just never know with Sheff United because Chris Wilder keeps his cards so close to his chest on who's actually back fit or who's injured. Like, I would say Tyrese Campbell, but I don't know if Tyrese Campbell is going to start. I would say that Jezran Raksaki on his day is a live wire that can make things happen, but he's been kind of inconsistent. I would say Femi Sariki can really get things going down that right-hand side, but I've no idea if he's going to be fit enough to start in this game. Harrison Burrows at left wing back, or left back, which is where he predominantly played, looks really good. For Peterborough as a left wing back, he was sensational. For the Blazers as a left back, he's looked, probably taking it to the next level. And, if you give away a penalty, he'll be the one to take it. But he was playing out of position in our most recent match, and that for me doesn't work. So it's very, very hard to say. I mean, even on his day, Andre Brooks, if you get a chance to look at any of the highlights from that Watford away match, a real live wire with wheels for feet. So I want to say Tyrese Campbell, but I don't actually know who's going to start. So you'd imagine Tom Cannon probably keeps his place, and I need to see more from him, and I do think he works better in a 2, which probably with the Blades formation playing 4 at the back and only 1 up top with 2 wingers, inverted wingers as well, probably unlikely to see. Weaknesses in the Sheff United team. I mean, Jack Robinson is fond of an error or two. I am actually a big fan of Jack, as I say many times on our channel, but he has got a mistake in him. So I do feel like our defence at the moment is the weak area. We have started conceding goals. We aren't creating that much. That's at the other end of the pitch. I'm a bit more concerned about where the goals are going to come from. Because if you are conceding, as long as you can go and score at the other end, that's fine. But at the moment, a little bit of a worry. And after that Hull City match, you either think, well, was that a blip? Or was it that we've not actually been playing that well for a while and it was coming? I need to see more evidence, and this Derby game will be a good test of that. Score prediction for the game, I think it's going to be really tough. It's not going to be anything like a match at Bramall Lane. I'll say this will be probably a hard-fought 1-1 draw. Nothing particularly exciting or to write home about, and certainly not a game for the neutrals. By the way, if you do want to watch interviews with former Derby and Sheffield United players, we've got quite a few on our channel. John Brayford leaps to mind. Paul Pesky-Salido. I'm trying to think of others that have maybe played for both. But anyway, you can check it out. We've got players that talk a lot about Derby County on our channel. So, I mean, we've had a lot of players that have played for both. So if you want to see who else we've interviewed, we've had quite a few on there. There might be 1 or 2 that tickle your fancy and can reminisce about some times at Pride Park or the baseball ground. I don't know how far back we've gone with some of these players, but yeah, if you do want anything Sheff United Way related that also has a derby slant, that's pretty much all I can think of. Enjoy the game or don't, that bit's up to you.
Thank you very much to I love Harley. He's such a funny
What a
guy.
lad.
Also, that was the longest shill we've ever had at the end of this. So that was borderline impressive. Managing to get so many shout outs in the space of about 35 seconds. But Nick, I was genuinely interested by how, I guess, negative Hull was there in the sense of 1-1 draw. They're right at the top of the league. Derby have lost 6 in a row.
We'll
I mean,
take
how?
it.
Yeah, I tell you what. Would you take a 1-1?
I think it's one of those games when you looked at the start of the season and you looked where we're going to pick up the points, snapped your hand off for a 1-1 draw.
Or bite.
Realistically, we're in a position where we need to win. But yeah, it's always interesting. Like, I was on the Watford one couple of weeks back, and again, they're just outside the playoffs. And the way that the guys on their pod that they did the little video for us, the way they were talking, it's mad to look at. Like, if we would be killing for where they are.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
they're an interesting team, Sheff United, because their top scorer. Any ideas how many goals their top scorer has got?
Not
7.
many. Yeah,
6. How many has our top scorer got?
6.
6. Yeah. They mention, and their top scorer actually is Harmer, however you say it, and he's out, as they've said, which I think is a great thing. Callum O'Hare is a player that I've admired for a very long time, from his Coventry days, etc. I think he's a real danger man in Sheff United's team, but they don't score. They've only scored 8 goals more than we have this season, but they're another one of these teams that, as Hal said there, they grind out results, they get results. Chris Wilder has got immense in-game management.
He knows what he's doing, doesn't he?
Exactly, and therein lies the difference between Derby County and other teams in this league. You can have those discussions. I'm sure we've had them on other pods and whatever about the manager, etc. But therein lies the difference that other teams can grind stuff out in this league. But if you ask me if I'm taking a 1-1 draw now, I'm probably saying yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jack, you're looking ahead to Sheff United, as Hal said. Gustavo Harmer missing. That's massive for Derby. I mean, Nick said he'd take a draw. Do you take a draw?
Well, can we take a draw at this point? And that's the real question, because as a one-off game, 100% we'll take the point. But
I think we've said that for 4 games.
Yeah, the last 2 games, the last 3 games really have put us in a situation now where we are in must-win territory, aren't we? And I know it sounds really bizarre to say that to one of the top teams in this division, but we need to win soon, because this run of losing needs to finish, and even the winless run, if we do draw, needs to end soon. And the last 3 games was perfect opportunities at home, and then obviously Cardiff away was time to stop the rot, and the rot has just got worse. And how long can it carry on before we're staring down? It's only 2 points at the moment, which is a win, which is bizarre, but also that 2 can quickly become 5, which can quickly become 8, and all of a sudden we are in a black hole to get back out. I think, again, the fan in me would be, the point's fine, but when we look at the league table, a win is so important. But let's not get our sort of things fogged. They've spent near enough 20 odd million net income. Like, they've spent plus 27 million. We've spent nothing, and that's the difference between the top end of the league. We're selling our best player for 10 million. They've just brought a new striker that Hal doesn't rate 10 million, and that's levels, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is, but you never know. It's Derby at home against Sheff United, and we all know that Derby always seem to get a weird result out of that. I think it's like West Brom coming to Pride Park. Sheff United seem to have similar bad luck, so let's hope that carries on. So very quickly, lads, we both take a draw. We all take a draw. Nick, score prediction.
I'm gonna go 1-1. I'm gonna say it's going to be a 1-1, but it's going to be an uplifting equaliser.
Nice.
And we're going to spend £10 million in 5 days, so we can say we've competed with them, Jack.
Sounds good. Go on, Jack, what's yours?
See, I know I said I'd take a draw, but I've got a sneaky Derby 1-0. Lars Jorgen Salverson 2-2, big rising header late on after we've weathered an incredible storm in front of the south stand. He's going to let the man bun out. His hair's going to be flowing. There's going to be love bites in the corner and everything. It's going to be amazing. And let's just hope that's true and we're all happy on Saturday
And then
evening.
Jack wakes up from his dream and then he gets up for the football. And...
Don't ask him where he got the love bite.
I meant the players, not me. I meant they're all hugging and kissing in the corner. It's amazing scene.
So Jim, oh God, Jim says it's going to be a 2-1 win. 2-1 win. Mate, I'm trying not to cough to death currently. Jim says it's going to be a 2-1 win. Kev Lee says 3-1 Derby. Rob Pipes says 2-0 win, and Thomas Sadgrove takes us back down to earth with a defeat. I think it's going to be a 1-0 Derby. I think it's going to. Matt Clarke is going to come in. We're going to look solid. We're going to score the worst goal ever. It'll probably be Salverson, and then we'll defend for our lives, just like Middlesbrough at home, and hopefully get. I was going to say another 3 points against another top team, but we've only done that about once. Let's hope we get 3 points. Oh my God, we need them. So, thank you so much for listening. If you'd enjoy, please do leave a like, please do subscribe, etc. If you ever want a feature on the pod, like Nick did, just send us an email. Our email is in the bio, so if you're interested, ping us an email. We'll have a chat. Why not? We're always looking to get new people on and get new voices, etc., etc., etc. So please do like, please do subscribe, please do give us a rating. Please do support the Rams. I think they need it more than anyone. It is goodbye from me.
Cheers, boys.
You have to say goodbye from me, Nick.
Come on,
It's
Nick. Goodbye from you,
it's legally
Nick.
binding.
It's goodbye from me. So I've not been on with you before, Jake. So
oh, did I not do it? Did he not do it? Oh,
No,
shocking! Right, he's getting fined. He's getting
and it's
fined.
good night from him.
Sacked. Goalhanger has been sacked. Breaking news. Goalhanger terminated contract from Rams Talk. And it's goodbye from me.
Thank you very much for listening. And we will see you soon.